Yo, what's good, people? We good to start? All right. Well, thanks for having us, DoorHacks team. For the audience out there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thanks for tuning in, and joining us here today for the Aptos Gant DAO. And today, I'm presenting on behalf of Souffle, and we're discussing how to build a high quality and vigorous NFT ecosystem on Move language. So yeah, we were here actually, a couple of days back, and back then we were doing an intro for Aptos Gant. That's one of the NFT Explorer product that a team has created, still much in a beta form. But yeah, we kind of created that in the sense of public good. But we're here today kind of to give you a overview, I guess, of what we've been building in the Move language ecosystem, and then so much more that we want to share with you. For those of you that may haven't heard about Souffle in the past, well, we are the NFT marketplace in Launchpad team, right? And we started off doing this on Aptos. The team themselves immersed them in Move language as early as 2020 when it first came out. So it's a pretty dedicated team. Got, what I always say to people, we got that NFT marketplace DNA in us, and start building on Aptos as early as the DevNet days. So we were doing that, starting off in the second half of 2022, and then building through various phases of the Aptos layer one, through the DevNet and the testnet, onto the mainnet as well. And now we're, achieving a pretty scaled community as it is today, about 196,000 on Twitter, about 150,000 Discord community, thanks to the support of the families and ecosystem. We're now also thinking about the next step as we expand our coverage into the Sui ecosystem, which is another layer one that's also built on Move language, and whilst in the future might potentially be supporting some of the layer twos in EVM as well. So yeah, I think that's that's a quick overview of the intro for us. We have a few topics we want to sort of cover for today, and I'll start it off by, I guess, with a quick walkthrough of our product, the Souffle, the NFT marketplace itself. I'll do a showcase of the product, and then we'll move on from there to talk about what we have created for what I call for the greater goods. Because the other day we did a demo for Aptos Gant, but in parallel we have something even better, what we call a Freelaunch product. He has achieved, I think, a dozen of Launchpad projects already through that. It's a toolset that's been created to use zero code and then gifted just for the Aptos community to use free of charge. And then moving on from there, we'll be talking about how we keep entertaining the community and driving the volume in here with various campaigns. And I guess one of them, the most worth noting, would be the bake-off campaign, which we have been rolling throughout the DevNet days of the Aptos, and then moving on through the mainnet days. We had a bake-off 2.0 that was rolling, and as of just yesterday, we announced bake-off 3.0. So that's a constantly evolving kind of campaign that's driving huge traction. So we want to make sure we get a chance to share with you about that part as well. Then moving on from there, we do also want to talk to you, about the NFT cross-chain technology, which we have been working very hard on. The team spent hours trying to build that kind of strategy out. We'll be having this kind of really just contemplating the rising NFT ecosystem in Sui right now, and then that ever-growing demand of either just kind of reach out to the community and then be able to sort of showcase their artwork in consideration of the indefinite timeline of the Sui mainnet. That's why the team has spending quite an amount of an effort just to build a cross chain. I'll dig into a bit more details about this part, but I think it's beneficial not only for the Aptos ecosystem, but then also for the upcoming SWI ecosystem as well. We have created what we call wireless activation voucher. And then I will be sharing a few case studies for the recent launchpad that has been completed and for the upcoming launchpad that we're doing with our launchpad partner, Foxiverse. And to wrap up, I want to have a chance just to share a bit more with you, I guess, about the about our next step as we expand coverage into the SWI ecosystem. So yeah, I think that's a quick walkthrough of the overall content for today. So without further ado, I'll just dive into the chapter 1, and we're good to go. So start off, yes, I want to do a quick product showcase and demo of the SoFly website. For people familiar with us, you know us as a aggregator, a next generation, what we call ourselves, next generation marketplace built on Aptos. Right? Being an aggregator means that we aggregate all the liquidity across the entire layer 1. Right? So it's not just the listings and transactions that are happening on SoFly, but across other marketplaces as well. Right? So we aggregate all the liquidity through, so that when users making purchase on SoFly, they're actually seeing the true floor price. Right? It's not just the lowest price that's been sort of listed on the specific marketplace, but the true floor price across the entire Aptos chain. So that's what we've been pretty proud of. We have that aggregating functionalities that's built in from day one, and very clear about what we want to do. And it's the same kind of ideology as we expanding this way, expanding to other ecosystem going forward. So looking at that, I mean, we come to the homepage. You'll see that we start off with popular collections. That's been sort of listed across the entire ecosystem. And then we have a few of our Launchpad products been listed in here. You will have a chance sort of to, I guess, browse through and play around with this. Right now, we're having the main page showcase of the upcoming Bake 3.0, but then the upcoming Launchpad for our Launchpad partner as well. You want to discover a little bit more about the NFT collections across the Aptos chain. You come to the Discover page, or you could do your own search in the search bar here, of course. I'll just do a quick showcase. We say we click into browsing through the pages here. I mean, TACK NFT, they were doing the Freelaunch platform through us quite a few weeks ago, and I'll have a chance to dig more into that as we touch on the Freelaunch part of the introduction today. SWI Friends with them, we launched with them just yesterday through the Launchpad, and that's for the mouth component of it. So I'll just use that as a quick example, just to demo. You click into the SWI Friends, and then you're able to see that it's not only just listings on on SoFly with that little logo icon on the top left corner, but then you also see listings that have been done through Topaz, for example. Of course, if we go to TACK NFT, for example, Tech NFT, I see a lot more listing that's scattered across different marketplaces. But being an aggregator, then we're actually able to aggregate all that liquidity in there. So whenever you make a purchase on SoFly, you can be assured that you're purchasing at the actual floor price across the entire ecosystem. The other functionalities, I mean, the simple stuff like purchase or offering, it's just as straightforward as it is. I'm probably not going to be spending much of the time to do that. But I do want to have a chance to demo to you about a sweep functionality. Now, a lot of the other NFT marketplaces already have that built in, but I'm pretty proud and confident to say that we were the first one to kind of roll this out during the early Aptos DevNet days. So we had it, almost as early as day one as we started on Aptos DevNet. With the sweep functionality, you can make purchase of multiple items in one go, and it's an effortless sort of experience. And that will include not only the listings on SoFly, but then across other marketplaces as well, and without saving you all the hassle of having to jump back and forth into their web page just to complete a purchase. So everything is sort of contained and completed in this one single UI. So assuming that I want to make purchase and I only have certain amount of budget, right? So I could just key in and say how much I want to spend in here. Right? Maybe I only got a 5 APT I want to spend in here. I can key that in, and I'm making sure that when I'm making a sweep, it will automatically do the calculation for me. I could alternatively just select the number of items I want to purchase. Right? If I want to sweep, say, 5 or 4 items, the system will automatically grab the top 5 or 4 most affordable items within that collection across the entire Aptos channel. I could just sweep that in one single click. I'm not going to do that. As I probably don't have sufficient balance in my wallet. But let's just say very cool function I do want to sort of showcase and demo to you guys. The other sort of functionalities, as been saying, is probably more straightforward. You go to any of the your profile, and you're able to sort of just look at what you have here, and then you can sort of decide if you want to list that. I have a whole bunch of the Bake-Off mystery box here. If you want to list them, you could just sort of click on that and make sure you can list. You can list multiple at a time, right? To set your price. You could even set, list different items from different collections with one simple click, and you set your price here, right? Or you set a sort of a global price. You could also do that. It's very easy to use. We also do have the transfer functionality, right? So you click on transfer, you key in your friend's address, then that transfer, boom, is completed. As very minimum gas fee entailed. So that's a great function to use, which I think a lot of people are not actually familiar with. So we actually rolled out the Pontoon Week, as part of the side event, as the main bake-off event, right? We wrote a Pontoon Week with Pontoon together, and then the winner for that, they did get a Space Pirate that's been sponsored by Pontoon. So for that specific prize, the way that we're gonna have people sort of collect that, it's gonna be through the transfer. So if you get your wallet sort of connected through that and through the SoFly website, and you can see that you'll be receiving that transfer happening in the inbox, right? Other than that, you could also sort of just check out the items that you have listed at the moment. I don't have anything listed now, but if you've done a listing here, then yeah, supposedly that would be showing up here. And then obviously you could sort of see the offers that you have received or you have made. It's all going to be displayed here. I'm not as active as I should be, and I apologize for that. But yeah, that showcases all the sort of things that's sort of happening, and all your activities as well. And you'll be able to sort of see that. Just showcasing with that account. If you select the time frame, that'll show you what was happening in the past days. Right, I was baking off a lot, and you can see that you've got an NFT ingredient in here, and then the bake-off mystery box in the past 7 days, and that's all changes through the time frame. 30 days, 24 hours, and the entire sort of time frame that can also be enclosed in here. So yeah, I mean that's just really, I think, a high level stuff. But if you want more granularity, you can obviously use our Aptos Gant, which is more of a detailed analytical tool that we have created, free to use for the public. So yeah, that's I think a quick sort of walkthrough of our main products of the website of the NFT marketplace. Moving on to the sort of next chapter, I kind of want to have a chance to share a bit more about what we have created, as I say, created for the greater goods, right? So we talked about Aptos Gant the other day, right? NFT Explorer, great analytical tool, cross-chain data analysis and sort of data gathering real time. That was great stuff. Go make sure you check that out. We're also rolling a quick demo video with Dora Hacks together. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that today. I'll probably want to focus a little bit more on the Freelaunch, right? So this is just as easily accessible. If you go to SoFly's main website on the left-hand side panel, you can just select the tab and make sure you click onto the Freelaunch tab, and here you are, right? And now that it's showing some of the launching projects that's on live at the moment, but there are a few ones that may have ended. Most notably was the TSC NFT, Tech NFT, but then GDB Finance was the first project to use the Freelaunch product. That was a huge success for them that they were able to achieve through the Freelaunch product. So why did we create it? Right? Why do we create the Freelaunch in the first place? That is entirely sort of out of the purpose of having something benefiting the ecosystem. Right? It's for the greater prosperity of the NFT ecosystem on Aptos, and hopefully soon for Sway as well. We're creating it on recognizing there are great talents out there, great artists with fantastic ideas, but yet they were not able to be accepted by other launchpads or even our main launchpads, because we're very, very selective in terms of the kind of project we bring onto the main launchpad. as been responsible to the community as we can. The doxing process and everything, it's a complicated thing, right? And not everybody is okay with that. And also, the launchpad fee that's entailed, I think that's also going to be, a bit of a challenge for some of the projects out there. So recognizing all that need, and I guess most importantly, the ever-growing demand to unleash the talents from the artists in the ecosystem, we created the Freelaunch, right? So what is it? It's just a toolset available free to use, right, for the Aptos NFT creators, right? It's zero code, does not require any coding at all, and free of charge, right? So that what we're trying to do here is just make sure that the launchpad process can be as effortless as possible, so that people can just get their artwork ready and then release that to the community in as effortless as it possibly can be. So that's the purpose of why we created the Freelaunch in the first place. We also recognizing whilst we having this toolset that's been gifted to the community, right? We gifted that out. I was right after the Christmas holiday last year in 2022, but we're not vouching for any of the project, right? Because it's available for use towards the general public, and everybody can hop on and try to use that if they can, if they want to. Souffle is not vouching for any project coming on board for this, but we also want to make sure that we are being as responsible to our community as we can. That's why we also implemented, as you can also see here, we have described very clearly, there's going to be a community review process involved, right? So 72 hours, where for each and every project that comes on board, it will be reviewed by our community in Discord, right? And everybody can flag out if there's any potential risk entailed in this project, if there's any blemish point or whatever. If it's been flagged, then that's how the process might be halted. That may have to go some additional process. Right? So we make sure that we have that built in as a 72-hour community review process to make sure that the project using the Freelaunch are actually being responsible, aiming for the best, and also limiting the risk exposure for our and their community as well. So having said that, if you go here, then we have this additional button that will ask you to check out the terms of service and privacy policy, whatnot. If you accept that, then you could go, because I have already signed in here regularly. If you haven't done that, you would need to sign in the first place. Then you can go into collection management. Right? That's where you start creating the amazing artwork using the Freelaunch platform. I haven't created anything in the past, just as busy as I can be, but you could just click that button and start creating your own work, right? And everything here is automated. You enter the name, there's going to be collection description you want to key in here, specify your supply here, right? Cover art URL. We want you to just paste something in that that can be sort of uploaded on chain. Got very clear description in here. If it's invalid, then we actually detect and let you know. You got to connect your official Twitter here as well. And the royalty fee. You set all that parameters yourself, right? We don't interfere with anything at all. I'm not going to go into details, and for ones that are interested in the Freelaunch platform, you can obviously just come on board and have a try. I think very easy to understand and as straightforward as it can be. That's the purpose, right? So we created this tool to make sure that we benefit as many people as we can, and as effortless manner as it possibly can be. So that's so much for the Freelaunch. And then in addition, I guess, to the Aptos Gant, which as I mentioned, I have discussed a few days ago. I think those are the very important component that we are kind of gifting to the community for the sake of the greater goods. But then we're also planning for some additional, I guess, tool sets to be created for the creators to use, in the near future. So just sit tight and stay tuned. We'll have, I guess, more stuff to be released. Right? Because at Souffle, my belief, at least, I think is not just simply a commercial entity or about creating profit in the ecosystem. I think that first and foremost, and we are an important builder in the ecosystem, in the Aptos and the Move language ecosystem. Right? So being an important ecosystem builder there's a lot of responsibility entailed. Right? You got to take care of the people in there. You got to pay attention to the greater goods. Create things for the greater goods when you can. Right? Not simply just thinking about generating profit or try to huddle up and just try to profit from the launch whatnot. I mean, that's the commercial sort of part of the setup. But I think we're beyond that. We're more than that. And that's why I say, I mean, folks, just stay tuned. We'll probably have more stuff to be released very soon, and then we might be raising some potential AMAs, and even NFT collections for artists and teams and builders that are based in Ukraine and other parts of the world that's sort of suffering at the moment. Trying to raise awareness, trying to help them in any possible way that we possibly can. So stay tuned for all that updates, folks. I think that at SoFly we do care about greater goods. We recognize ourselves as being an important builder in the ecosystem. We want to uphold our share of the responsibility. So with that said, I think that concludes the chapter 2 of the content today, and I want to move on to chapter 3 here, where we want to talk about a bit about our bake-off campaign, right, which have been rolling continuously in the past few months, right, as we've been saying through the DevNet days for the Aptos and the mainnet of the Aptos, and now we're rolling an upgraded version of bake-off 3.0. Then when the 3 mainnet comes on board, I think we're going to be making some moves there as well. Right, so with that, I mean, we have the bake-off campaign, right, as serving itself as a pretty good entry point. For many people, I think it's even the first point for them to kind of start knowing, learning about the Aptos ecosystem, right? Because we have amazing partners joining us together as we build this amazing campaign. I should switch over the page so you can have a more of a direct visual impact. You could also access this here, right, on our homepage. This on the first page of the banner. You click on that, then that will take you to the bake-off page right here. Obviously, easily accessible, just on the left hand of the panel. You would have seen that, if you've gone here, it's like bake-off bomb, because we have made an entire new upgrade for the bake-off 3.0. Now we're on the bake-off mystery box. That kind of stands for the BOM, the bomb here. So yeah, the reason why we created the bake-off, right, because it's entertaining, it's engaging, it's a great way sort of to interact with our community, and then for them sort of to onboard and have a go at SoFly's very own product, right? We obviously, though, a chance we'll roll, say, simple stuff like giveaway through Twitter, through Discord, right? You got to follow each other's accounts, and then you might have to retweet a bit, mention your friends, whatnot, simple stuff like that. So yes, we've been doing that in the past, and we might still as well do that in the future, just for the simplicity of it. But then we strongly believe in the potentiality of the bake-off event itself as a much more entertaining way and a better way to interact with the community whilst gifting them with, say, benefits, right? Either it's your token, your Discord role, your NFT item, or even just simply a, say, token price, right? There's a lot more ways if you want to gift your community, you want to gift the Aptos ecosystem. The bake-off has that flexibility to host any potential prize that you want to throw in here. So right now, when you come to the homepage of it, right, the bake-off here, we have the banner that's showing on the top. Especially, I guess, for our participating sponsors, Foxiverse, they pop up very recently with some amazing rewards, and HyperPie was there. They throw in a HyperPass. It's a great wallet product. Lemur Launch, our Launchpad partner, they have bake-off theme specifically designed Lemur NFT item in the bake-off event as well. So yeah, we tend to have that banner sort of rolling, especially for any of the sponsors interested in bake-off. Do let us know. Very happy to put up a banner for you if you have a amazing artwork in place. We want to provide a platform for you to showcase your artwork, right, and your project wherever possible. And when you're going into the bake-off, user interface, it's very straightforward. There are 5 different kinds of NFT ingredient, and then you have to collect at least one of them, one of each, to be able to conduct a bake. right? So you have the blueberry, and then the sugar, the flour. Sorry, that was the flour, and the sugar, and the milk, and the egg, right? And how do you get them, right? You could purchase them through secondary market, or you simply just have to collect them, because we give people collect if they complete certain tasks. Say if you complete a daily login, right, that gives you some collect. Right? You make a purchase of NFT on SoFly, or list any NFT on SoFly, that gets you some additional collect numbers. So with the collect, you could potentially win or collect one of the NFT ingredients in here. Right? I might as well just do a showcase real quick. So if I click on that, oopsie, I have to enter my password again. So yeah, with that, if I click on a collect, right, and approve that, then boom, I've got myself a blueberry. And all that stuff is just going to be, packed in here, right? Right now I can see I got 2 eggs and 1 milk, then 4 sugar, and I got 5 blueberries, which is amazing. If you want short on any of that, say if my milk runs out and I won't be able to bake, I simply just click on buy. It'll take me onto the page, and I can make purchase for the milk. Right. So one of the other interesting features here, right? If you look at the NFT ingredients here, they're not simply just, the regular sort of NFT that you see out there. They have health marks. Right? You look at that. My blueberry has 8 out of 10 health marks here. That is kind of like, if you really think about it, it's kind of like a semi-fungible token kind of ideology. We made that effort. The team pulled that through. Actually, may as well be the first sort of SFT trial on the Aptos ecosystem. Trying to sort of just lower the gas fee for people, right, and try to make it as affordable as possible for people to come in and participate in the bake-off. Right. So previously, when we were rolling bake-off 1.0 during the DevNet days, it was all test token, and probably doesn't mean much. People, wasn't as concerned as financially as they are today. But now we understand we're rolling on mainnet, and everything comes with real penny. So we want to make sure, we can help them save the gas fee as much as we possibly can, right? So hence we designed this kind of SFT ideology. So with each bake, that simply just consume 1 health mark, right? It doesn't consume the entire NFT item, but just 1 health mark within. So with that 1 item, you can bake 10 times. And that's how we were able to sort of just help people to save the gas fee through that effort. And right now I have, just all of that sort of collecting there. I have 22, and I can obviously collect 10, in one go. That will save me a huge amount of time, just making the entire process a lot more efficient and quicker. And boom, if I click on that, that will cost me some gas fee. Yeah, but I'll be able to see all that stuff I collect in here. And then, it also shows you the cookbook, right, in terms of how you want to do it. It shows you the detail, right? You're going to collect the ingredients, you're going to bake 5 of them, and you get rewards, and you cannot even recycle. You recycle the ones that you have been used. When the health mark depleted, then every 10 used items is recycled. You get one new collect for a new item. At the moment, what we've been rolling just through the bake-off yesterday, it's a mystery box. The bake-off mystery box, what we call BOMB. When you open that, right, then you get a chance to win potential rewards within. Now that is a real-time display of what people have been winning. You either get a nose, you get the OG list, sponsored by Foxiverse, for example, right? What most importantly is that every month there's also a 99 APT, huge grand prize that's been packed in, right? And you can win that just simply by opening the mystery box here at the bottom, right? And there are 4 more sort of smaller prizes, 33 APT each, 4 of them per month. That's also available through the mystery box, and even some of the other smaller prizes in total here. Right. Other than that, then we also have, great rewards that's been generously sponsored by our partners, like Foxiverse, Move NFT, great DEX project running on Slate at the moment. Then Hyperpass, sponsored by Hyperpay, and Freelaunch, for example, and SweetFriend. They got all that sort of components, right? They got the body, the ear, the tail, special edition actually, right? And then the eyes, the nose, the mouth. However, we did the launchpad for that through yesterday. That's not going to be available through the bake-off. That's strictly just available through the launchpad or the secondary market. And also, just out of gratitude towards our sponsors, we're having awards to list out the sponsors or notable sponsors in the near term. Put all that names in here. So since we're here today, I'm just sort of voicing out to the community. If you're ever interested in participating in the bake-off as a sponsor, do feel free to reach out. We're happy to take on anything that you want to offer, you want to give to the community out there. We're happy to welcome more people just to join and have fun with us. So yeah, do feel free to voice out and reach out and let us know. And down there is some more daily tasks people can complete just to win that additional collect. You can keep bake on. Right. So that was the kind of the bake-off event as well, and then I guess the final awards for the other NFT project. We also, like for example with Foxiverse, right? We're rolling out the whitelist prizes through the bake-off event. So that's one of the great way for you to, I guess, gain that exposure, for the wider community out there, to release the bake-off, release the whitelist, right? Rather than sort of simply doing this through on-chain achievement token, which we obviously can help you do. I've been a great partner with Galaxy on the NFT marketplace side, on Aptos. There are many things that we can help you do on the OET side, on-chain achievement token with Galaxy, but then bake-off is just as great as an alternative as it can be. So yeah, that should wrap it for the chapter 3. Where hopefully that's a pretty good walkthrough for the bake-off event itself. Then moving on next, I want to be talking about the most important part as we stand here today is going to be about the cross-chain, right? NFT cross-chain technology, and then I might as well just pack that together with the next step as we expand into Sway. I'm conscious of the time here now. So what that is if the DoraHacks team could help us just to switch to the presentation for me, please. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. So what that is kind of what we call whitelist activation voucher, right? So we've been contemplating that since the end of last year as we have made decisions to strategically expand the coverage into Sway, but then also recognizing the humongous sort of the demand from the NFT projects out there. Whilst they're targeting the Sway mainnet, they want to build some collection in there, but then they also want to be able to interact with their community as early as they can be, and then also I guess be able to do some fundraising through that. I mean, all the costs of that's probably the least important, but then also getting the secondary market hype. So recognizing all that demand, and we're creating a whitelist activation voucher, right? So what is the whitelist activation voucher? I mean, essentially, if you think about it, it's just a NFT itself. It's a tradable NFT, that is released on Aptos to start with, right? And we're doing a showcase of this sort of artwork, Lemur launch here. But obviously, if you come on board to us and you say, hey, we want to have some sort of different design, we can obviously do that for you. So with that, then the whitelist activation voucher, it's tradable NFT itself, right, on Aptos. And it grants the holder the right to one of the single whitelist spot to your amazing artwork or project. Either it's going to be minted on Sway or Aptos, with undecided mint date just yet, right? Especially considering the mainnet for Sway is kind of indefinite, right? So that is going to be tradable, but it will grant people a whitelist spot, right? And the way that it's rolled out is that people can earn it through participation, of potential bake-off event, right? Right now it's like bake-off 2.0, but then we'll be packing that into 3.0 as well, and the other companion events. It's actually tradable, and then that gives the full access to secondary market liquidity, just like any other minted NFTs, right? And what this feature allows is that it also enables you to test the response of market towards your creation, and then enable the possibility to create market hype well ahead of your actual mint date, right? And we have designed this just with the understanding of that this is going to be much more helpful and much more tangible compared to something, say, like a test mint. Right? I'm not saying test mint is unhelpful, but obviously when you compare to something as tradable as the whitelist activation voucher, then that's just kind of get overshadowed. Right? Then what will happen is that we have created this. Then when it comes close to your expected mint date, right, we'll do the redemption of this voucher automatically, right, through the mint page, right. First of all, like when a Sui mainnet comes on board, for example, if your artwork is launching on Sui, right, and then we got people holding the whitelist activation voucher for your project. When it comes to the Sui mainnet, so we will design a mechanism such that people can sort of just redeem that voucher on Aptos, then create a counterpart or mirroring counterpart on Sui directly, while spurning the previous version on Aptos, right? So that completes the transfer effortlessly for the voucher to be continuously trading in Sui for a while. Then when it comes on to the mint date for your project, for example, if it's rolling on Sui, then we'll build in on that mint page, right? Even for the matters of, say, if you're doing mint on Aptos, right, we could obviously do that as well. On the mint page, we'll have that button where people, if they hold that wireless activation voucher in the wallet, then it will burn that voucher in the wallet, then get that wallet address one single wallet spot for your actual mint of the collection. So that's the purpose of this this little apparatus, which we are extremely proud of, right? So why did we create that in the first place, right? I think that's a great effort that we're making, sort of bridging, the access into the Sui NFT ecosystem and kind of really bridge the two great layer ones, Aptos and Sui, because they're all built on Move language, and then there's great amount of commonalities, I'm sure, between those two layer ones. But with the activation voucher that we created, that can bridge two humongous NFT communities, right? The one on Aptos and the one on Sui, that just gives direct access between those two communities, which I think personally is going to be amazing. It's greatly helpful, right? The reason we created this is one is just duly contemplating our next step to expand the boundary of our industry-leading next-gen NFT services into the Sui ecosystem. Then also, that was prior to Christmas that we fully opened the Bake-Off 2.0 to the public, and then received overwhelming participation and positive responses. Right. Probably conscious of time, I try to sort of speed up a little bit, but then there's some benefits to having this, wireless activation voucher set up for your project as well, right? Obviously, first of all, it's a fully on-chain sort of wireless solution, right? It gives people a sneak peek of your art style. It's a true NFT. It's tradable even before, well ahead of your launch date, right? And it can be converted into conventional wireless prior to your launch. Right, and finally, the most important aside, exposure to Software's amazing Bake-Off and other marketing resources. Right, Bake-Off as itself remains the most popular and long-lasting campaign in traffic hub, volume traffic hub. In addition to say Twitter and Galaxy and Aptos. So moving on to the next, then I kind of want to, for projects that I guess interested, just reach out to us directly. Then I'll be able to make sure that we have a chance to walk through how to create this. But this is really just a simple step, right? We want people to kind of just decide on the layer one that you're launching on. And there are going to be a few materials that we're going to need to collect from you, and once that's completed, it's all simplified and kind of automated process from there. So yeah, that's a quick walkthrough of the how to create that. But then I obviously want to have a chance to just discuss who can enjoy the wave, right? Because we're creating this tool, and again, we want have many people to be able to use that. But there are going to be some basic requirements in total, right? The intention is just to invite as many friends as possible in the ecosystem to onboard the Bake-Off 2.0 and now the 3.0, of course, and the Launchpad service, whilst enjoying the wave features. But there are going to be some basic requirements similar, because the wireless activation voucher itself is getting some correlation with the Launchpad service as well. So we're upholding the same criteria as we open up the dialogue for the activation voucher very selectively. Right? We want to work with the experienced team with past accomplishment. We want to work with a team that upholds a friendly and active community, and be transparent and open-minded. And then, in the meantime, have great commitment to bring the best to our users, their users, and the holders. And then lastly, and the most importantly, I guess, the don't be evil requirements, as been sort of voiced out by A16Z. So that's I guess a quick walkthrough of the whitelist activation voucher. Conscious of the time, I think that's also just I try to speed up a bit more here. This is just one of the many sort of steps and efforts that we're making as we expand our coverage and service into the Sway ecosystem. We're going to be releasing some more news and proper articles explaining our next step, how we're expanding this way, what are sort of the things that we're looking to do there, why we're making that expansion. So I guess stay tuned, people, and we're going to be releasing some updates and news through our Twitter and then Discord channel just next week, where you have more transparency and more details about what we're doing and how we're heading into Sway. So please sit tight and be ready for that. Whilst we talk about that, I want to share with you for maybe just two more successful examples, maybe just even one, conscious of the time, because we completed the launchpad service for Occult. That was just happened on February the 6th, I believe. Yeah. So that was a success event, and DoorHack's team, could you please switch that back to the share screen? Thank you. And then, we completed that for them on February the 6th. And Occult, if you look at their, their website, they're going to be doing some amazing stuff, on Sway. They're doing their own little casino and whatnot. And then, got great things planned out. Just go have a check. Some little mini games entailed in there as well. But before their main collection, they're thinking about reaching out to the Aptos community, right? And also recognizing just the atmosphere here in Aptos. They're releasing the Occult artifacts, right? Which serves kind of as the not only the wireless pass, right, for the main collection, but the artifact itself also has its own utilities, right? You can combine it with the artifacts, right? It gets you some airdrops, for example. Some staking entailed as well. So do make sure you have a read at Occult's Twitter page, be able to help you understand a bit more about that. So then we kind of had that discussion with Occult, recognizing that demand, because they were at the time also sort of thinking about, running this on Polygon potentially, and we were probably speaking at a while we were even in competition with Magic Eden, trying to compete who can eventually win this amazing project. But then, we were very lucky, and I think Occult, they made a great decision to launch this with us eventually on Aptos, coming to this amazing ecosystem here. Then they got 888 of that artifact launch, right? And that got sold out very successfully. Then we have been rolling multiple events and campaigns with them just to explain the utilities entailed and the benefits of holding the artifact. They have some, albeit simple, right? Because it's just serving as a pass, but I think great artwork design entailed as well. So now that's sold out, and as we wait for the mainnet, we're also working with them on a potential token offering for the next step, and also the main collection that's going to be upcoming. So that was a success, successful case study, which simplifies one of the many efforts that we're making as we expand the coverage into the Sway ecosystem. And Foxiverse, for example, they're also coming on board for the launchpad just next week. Do make sure you stay tuned on our Twitter page for their Twitter page as well. We'll be having more updates in there. So we're going to be releasing their first collection, the Foxy character, on Aptos started with, right? But then when it comes to the Sway mainnet, we'll obviously help them with that cross-chain NFT transferring, so that people hold that Foxy character on Aptos. Eventually you will get one on Sway as well. Then we're going to be rolling the secondary collection together with them, to help them just grow their collection and ecosystem a lot bigger. So I think those are some great examples. So make sure you folks, if you have time, do check that out. Have a read at their Twitter page, our Twitter page. Get some more great introduction, and I guess also taking advantage of the platform and the venue here today, voicing out to the NFT projects out here. If you were thinking about either doing it in Sway or in Aptos, you're kind of tired of the indefinite timeline, waiting for the mainnet. Do come speak to us. Line up a discussion. No pressure. And we might be able to design some solution for you, so that you're able to create market hype, and then be able to reach out to your community in a very more meaningful way, right? I mean, you could obviously do testing, but again, as I was saying, rolling something such as the whitelist activation voucher, in my opinion, could help you big time. So do reach out to us and let us know your thoughts. We're very happy and eager to help all the builders NFT projects, not only in the Move ecosystem here. So yeah, with that said, I mean, again, I guess conscious of the time, I will probably wrap here for the session today. Huge thanks to DoraHacks team for having us, and I'll open the stage for questions if any.